you doing? Good girl. Oh, hi, Willow. I know it. We just dropped the girls off at the bus. I'm walking back home. And I'm drinking my coffee with my mushrooms on it. Because I am obsessed with mushies. Good morning. It's your favorite sassy blonde here. And it's just so lovely because it's not crazy humid this morning. Although it is still warm this morning, it's actually cooled off a bit, which is much better than dying in 100-degree heat with 80% humidity. I have been cleaning my gardens up, pulling plants that are pretty well done, and just kind of prepping for fall/winter planting. I want to give my plants the best possible chance of making it, and I think for me, prepping right now just makes the most sense. The heat pretty much beat down a lot of my plants that I was growing. I think the only thing that really loved the heat was the watermelon. However, we only got one watermelon, so now that watermelon was delicious, but it just was not. It was not worth the time and the energy for just one watermelon. I still left my watermelon plants. Well, actually, that's just one watermelon plant. And I think that's part of my problem, is I only had 2 plants in such a small raised bed. So this next year, I will not be planting anything vining in here. The pumpkins that I did plant did really well, and then the heat just took over and I had to pull one of them. I had to pull one of my pumpkin plants, and then I trimmed back a lot because there was a lot of damaged leaves. I highly doubt I'm going to be getting any more. I am going to try one thing though, and that is fertilize these guys and my watermelon plants just to see if I can get a few last little bits out of these guys. My basil I am letting flower. I want to collect the seeds, and I will be planting basil all through the big garden that is over there. I want to have my basil and my tomatoes all in the big garden. This box right here, I'm about to fill with more compost after we mix it up again. And this is where I'm going to transfer my asparagus that I planted in ground all the way over there. So they're still alive because this asparagus did so well in the raised bed. I want to mimic that on the other side in this one right here. I think that's just a great idea. I think it would give it symmetry, and I mean, the proof is in the pudding here. This bed is just absolutely stunning and doing so well, so I don't want to mess with that. Even the nut grass is dying in here, which I'm very happy. But it just goes to show how little water these guys have been getting. You can water it every single day, but to be so consistent and do it in the mornings early enough, if you're not busy doing anything else, you're really not going to be able to give it the right amount of water to survive, or it'll just dry out so quick it doesn't even have a chance to grasp at the roots. Don't have a chance to grasp at the water because everywhere else is super dry and absorbing it at a super fast rate. Like there's no moisture. Like I can stick my finger in here and it is just super freaking dry. My blackberries are lovely. They really love being in ground. I am going to build a small raised bed around the bottom and then fill in. I don't want to pull them. I'm just going to fill in maybe a good 1.5 inches of compost mixed with topsoil and then cover with mulch. And then that should be really awesome for this line right here. So all my berry plants are doing lovely. Completely taken over by grass and other plants, but it's still growing and they're still healthy. Now, the only downside is I have to wait until they go dormant before I can pull them up and put them in the raised bed. So I will have to leave this area right here untouched. Everywhere else though is going to have a short raised bed. It's going to be about yay tall and just be the width here going down the line, and essentially it's just giving me a place to help with irrigation, making sure nothing washes out, giving me a really nice space to add in my additives that won't wash out because it was the amount of water that just took everything and it was just awful. It really diluted everything, but it's still in ground. So I think that'll work out really well, doing very skinny, long raised beds in here. And then I'm going to get more mulch, fill it in between. It should keep the mulch here where it needs to stay, and it will keep all of the compost and added nutrients where it needs to stay as well for my plants to be successful. That right there is cucumbers that were way overripe that I pulled off the vines, and I just left them out here. So watch a bunch of freaking cucumber plants just start growing. I gotta pick those up and put them in the compost. But I've been cleaning up and still have a lot more to go in this garden here. So that's what's going on in my garden so far after all the heat. There's like, it's crazy because in the spring you feel totally different about your garden than you do in the heat of summer. You're just kind of like, I'm over it, this is trash. But then you get super excited about fall, winter, and gardening throughout that. So, but along with these guys here, it's like I would not even touch these cloth planters during the summer. They dry out within not even a half an hour of you watering them. So those do not do well at all when it comes to no rain consistently, and if you're not going to be able to water every single day or every other day at the exact same time early in the morning before the sun comes up. That's just how it is. A watering system is in the works for this garden, but I'm not going to include the cloth bags because I want to be able to move them around, but it will include all of my raised beds, so they will have a better chance either this fall or next spring whenever we get a chance to do that, because we do have a billion projects. Just like anybody else who has a farmstead, a billion projects will keep you busy for life, and it never stops. You will always have said projects. I'm not giving up. My garden is beautiful. I love my garden. I'm just over with certain plants that I'm growing at the moment. But golden hour has reached us and it is absolutely stunning. Here, I'll show you. There is just something about being out during golden hour. I hope y'all have a lovely morning. Enjoy the day. Tackle a project or two. And we'll check y'all next time.